Remember those holiday parties where every coffee table was covered with the same festive appetizers? Back when entertaining meant pulling out the good china and arranging everything just so on silver platters. Today we're exploring 25 Christmas appetizers from the 1960s and 70s that appeared at every holiday gathering without fail. Let's start with bacon-wrapped water chestnuts. These little bundles of joy were the ultimate party trick. You'd take a whole water chestnut, wrap it in half a strip of bacon, secure it with a toothpick, and brush it with a glaze made from brown sugar, soy sauce, and sometimes a splash of ginger. They'd go into a 400-degree oven until the bacon got crispy and the glaze caramelized into a shiny mahogany coating. The contrast was incredible, that crunchy water chestnut giving way to smoky bacon and sweet salty glaze. Every hostess had her secret ratio, but most used a cup of brown sugar to half a cup of soy sauce. They'd disappear within minutes of hitting the table. People would hover around the kitchen waiting for the next batch to come out of the oven. At about 15 cents per piece in 1968, they were considered quite elegant for the price. Deviled eggs. No holiday spread was complete without a platter of these paprika-dusted beauties arranged on a special egg plate. You know, those vintage glass ones with the oval indentations. The basic recipe never changed. Hard-boiled eggs, halved lengthwise, yolks mashed with mayonnaise, yellow mustard, and a splash of vinegar. But every family had their twist. Some added pickle relish, others a dash of hot sauce or Worcestershire. The filling got piped back in with a pastry bag if you were fancy, or spooned in if you were practical. That final sprinkle of paprika wasn't just decoration. It added a subtle smokiness. They cost maybe 2 cents per half in 1965, making them the most economical crowd pleaser. Kids would sneak them before dinner, leaving telltale gaps in the perfectly arranged rows. Cocktail meatballs. Picture a slow cooker or fondue pot full of glossy meatballs swimming in that legendary sauce. 1 jar of grape jelly mixed with 1 bottle of chili sauce. Sometimes it was Heinz chili sauce and Welch's grape jelly specifically. The meatballs themselves were usually frozen, those perfectly uniform spheres from the grocery store, though some ambitious hostesses made their own from ground beef and breadcrumbs. After 3 hours on low heat, they transformed into sweet savory bombs that people speared with decorative toothpicks. The sauce sounds bizarre now, but it worked. That tangy, sweet glaze coating each meatball was addictive. You'd see grown men stationed by the crock pot claiming they were just having one more. At parties, hostesses kept backup batches warming in the kitchen. Cheese balls with nuts. The centerpiece of every appetizer table was that magnificent cheese ball, usually the size of a softball, covered in crushed pecans or walnuts. The base was always cream cheese, 2 or 3 packages left out to soften, mixed with sharp cheddar, maybe some blue cheese, if you were adventurous. Worcestershire sauce, garlic powder, and onion powder went in for depth. Some versions included dried beef or ham. After mixing, you'd shape it into a ball, wrap it in plastic, and refrigerate overnight. The next day, you'd roll it in finely chopped nuts until completely coated. It sat on a wooden board or fancy plate, surrounded by Ritz crackers or wheat thins. The good ones had that perfect balance, where the tangy cheese played against the buttery crunch of pecans. By the end of the night, all that remained was a smear on the plate and pecan crumbs. Shrimp cocktail. This was the height of sophistication, those pink crescents of shrimp hanging over the edge of a glass bowl filled with crushed ice. The shrimp were boiled with bay leaves and peppercorns, then chilled until serving. The cocktail sauce was a simple mix of ketchup, prepared horseradish, lemon juice, and Worcestershire, with maybe a dash of Tabasco. Fancy households had special shrimp cocktail glasses, those wide, bold stemware pieces with a separate compartment for sauce. At 79 cents a pound for jumbo shrimp in 1972, this was the appetizer that said you'd splurged for the holidays. People would count to make sure they weren't taking more than their share. The key was keeping everything ice cold. Hosts would refresh the ice throughout the party. Pigs in a blanket. These weren't today's sophisticated version with puff pastry. These were mini hot dogs or cocktail wieners, wrapped in triangles cut from a can of Pillsbury crescent rolls. You'd separate the dough along the perforations, cut each triangle into smaller pieces, wrap the little sausages, and bake until golden. Some people brushed them with butter and sprinkled sesame seeds on top. The fancier versions used Lille Smokies instead of regular hot dogs. They came out of the oven puffed and golden, the dough flaky and buttery against the salty snap of the sausage. Kids loved them. Adults pretended they were just for kids, but ate plenty themselves. A batch of 24 cost about 30 cents to make in 1969. They were served with yellow mustard for dipping, though plenty got eaten plain. Pineapple and cheese skewers. These colorful picks were pure 1960s optimism on a toothpick. You'd cube sharp cheddar cheese and alternate it with chunks of canned pineapple on decorative toothpicks, the ones with the colored cellophane frills on top. Some versions added a maraschino cherry for extra color. The combination sounds odd now, but that sharp aged cheddar against the syrupy sweetness of canned pineapple somehow worked. They were arranged in patterns on the platter, sometimes stuck into a styrofoam cone covered in aluminum foil to make a tree. The pineapple juice would start to pool on the plate after a while, creating a sweet puddle that people would mop up with crackers. These were especially popular at afternoon Christmas parties, served alongside punch. Vienna sausage bites. Those little canned sausages got the holiday treatment. You'd drain them, pat them dry, cut them in half, and put them on toothpicks. The glaze was usually yellow mustard mixed with brown sugar and a little vinegar, brushed on and then run under the broiler until bubbly. Sometimes they were wrapped in strips of biscuit dough first. At 19 cents a can in 1967, they were a budget stretcher that nobody admitted to loving, but everyone ate. The texture was soft, almost pate-like, completely different from regular hot dogs. Kids especially loved them. Smart hostesses learned to make double batches. They were often the first appetizer to disappear, those empty toothpicks scattered around abandoned plates. Stuffed celery sticks. Every relish tray had these pale green boats filled with various spreads. The classic was pimento cheese, that orangey spread made from cheddar, mayo, and diced pimentos. Others got cream cheese mixed with dried beef, or cream cheese with chopped olives, or the kid-friendly version with peanut butter and raisins, ants on a log. The celery was cleaned meticulously, strings removed with a paring knife, cut into 3-inch pieces. The filling got spread with a butter knife, creating a smooth channel down the center. They added crunch to a spread full of soft foods. That snap when you bit through the celery, followed by the creamy filling, was surprisingly satisfying. They were arranged like spokes on a round platter, different fillings alternating for visual appeal. Liver pate on crackers. This was adult food, no question. Chicken liver pate, either homemade or from a can, Sells or Underwood brand, spread on Melba toast or water crackers. The homemade version involved sautéing chicken livers with onions and butter, then processing them smooth with cream and brandy. It was rich, almost metallic in its intensity, definitely an acquired taste. But for those who loved it, nothing else would do. It was often molded in a small bowl and turned out onto a plate, garnished with parsley and served with a small spreading knife. At holiday parties, you could identify the liver pate lovers. They'd congregate around it while others gave it a wide berth. The conversation around the pate platter was always more sophisticated, more continental. Ham and pickle roll-ups. These were simplicity itself, but somehow irresistible. You'd spread cream cheese on a thin slice of deli ham, lay a dill pickle spear at one end, roll it tight, chill it, then slice it into pinwheels. The key was using good boiled ham from the deli counter, sliced thin but not too thin. The cream cheese had to be room temperature for easy spreading. Some versions added a little Worcestershire or garlic powder to the cream cheese. After chilling, they'd slice cleanly into half-inch rounds, that spiral of pink and white, with the green pickle center looking festive on the plate. They lasted about 15 minutes at any party. The combination of salty ham, tangy pickle, and mild cream cheese just worked. Hot crab dip. This bubbling casserole was special occasion food. Real crab meat, or the more affordable canned version, mixed with cream cheese, mayonnaise, lemon juice, Worcestershire, and Old Bay seasoning. Sometimes sherry went in for sophistication. It baked until the edges bubbled and the top turned golden, served in a chafing dish to keep it warm, with crackers or small toast points for dipping. At $2 for a small can of crab in 1973, this was the appetizer that meant Christmas was really here. The smell alone, that combination of seafood and melted cheese, drew people to the table. You had to pace yourself with this one. It was so rich that too much too fast meant no room for dinner. Cheese fondue. The fondue pot was the must-have appliance of the era, and Christmas was the perfect excuse to use it. Swiss and Gruyere cheeses, melted with white wine and kirsch, kept warm over a sterno flame. Everyone got their own long fork for spearing bread cubes. The ritual was as important as the food, that figure-8 stirring motion to keep it smooth. The penalty if you lost your bread in the pot. Kids got the version made with beer instead of wine. The cheese would start to separate if it got too hot, so someone always had to monitor the flame. By the end of the night, there'd be that crusty layer on the bottom that people fought over. Fondue meant a party was sophisticated, international. Pickled herring hors d'oeuvres. These showed up at houses with Scandinavian heritage, but spread throughout neighborhoods. Herring in wine sauce or cream sauce, served on small squares of pumpernickel or rye bread, sometimes topped with a thin slice of onion or a sprig of dill. The herring came in jars, already cut into bite-sized pieces, swimming in their marinade. It was an acquired taste, that intense fish flavor with the sweet-sour sauce. But at holiday parties where tradition mattered, they were essential. Older relatives would get misty-eyed eating them, remembering Christmases from their childhoods. The younger generation would dare each other to try them. Jello salad squares. These geometric wonders straddled the line between appetizer and salad. Lime Jello mixed with cottage cheese, crushed pineapple, and sometimes chopped nuts, set in a pan and cut into squares. Or the tomato aspic version, savory gelatin with vegetable juice and tiny pieces of celery and onion suspended inside. They were served on lettuce leaves with a dollop of mayonnaise. The texture was uniquely mid-century, that firm but yielding gel with chunks of things suspended throughout. At church potlucks, you'd see 3 different versions lined up on the table. They photographed beautifully for cookbook pictures, those perfect translucent squares catching the light. Today they seem bizarre, but back then they represented modern convenience and scientific cooking. Which of these holiday appetizers do you remember from your family's Christmas parties? Thanks for joining us on this trip down memory lane. If you enjoyed exploring these 25 classic Christmas appetizers, give it a like and share it with a friend. And don't forget to subscribe.